Are you worried that you are damaging your voice by using it? In this video, I am going to explain how to know if you are hurting your voice and what to do or not to do to avoid further damage. Hi, I'm Katarina, speech-language pathologist, and here on this channel I share practical tips about using your voice in a healthy way. So if this is a topic that interests you, consider subscribing to this channel and hitting that bell notification icon so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Are you worried about your voice? Maybe your voice becomes hoarse from time to time and it limits you in what you can do. So of course you don't want to get hoarse again, and you are wondering if you can go out with your friends ever again without hurting your voice. Or maybe you experience lots of tension and strain when using your voice. You are doing all the right things to release tension, but you are still worried that you are causing tissue damage to your vocal folds. Or maybe you really experience pain when speaking and you just don't know what is going on with your voice. If you can relate to some of these scenarios, write me in the comments below. Most vocal problems manifest themselves as a change in voice quality, whether it's a hoarse or a weak voice. That's usually one of the first signals that tells us that there is something going on with the voice. But based just on the voice quality, we really don't know what is happening inside the throat and the larynx. There may be many different reasons why you sound the way you sound or why you feel the way you feel when you use your voice. And nobody can tell you if you are damaging your voice or not just based on the voice quality. So the only way to find out what is going on the inside of your larynx is to go and see a laryngologist or an ENT doctor, ear, nose and throat doctor, who specializes in voice problems. Not all ENTs will understand voice problems, so really make sure that you are seeing the right specialist. If you experience voice changes without the presence of an acute infection, such as common cold or flu, for more than 2 weeks, go and see a laryngologist for a proper voice assessment. That is the absolute first step in knowing if you are harming your voice or not. And if you have already done that, that's great. Hopefully the doctor was able to advise you on what to do next. But if you are still worried about damaging your voice, then keep on watching. During the exam, the doctor is basically assessing the structures and the function of the vocal folds and the muscles of the larynx. And your vocal issue may fall into one of these 3 categories. You may have a structural problem, a functional problem, or a neurological problem, or maybe a combination of them. I know this may sound complicated, but hear me out because I believe it's important to know the difference between these groups in order to know if you are dealing with vocal cord damage or not. First, let's talk about the structural problems. These are voice issues due to some changes on the vocal folds or in the larynx. And examples are vocal fold nodules, swelling of the vocal folds, sulcus vocalis, cysts, polyps, inflammation of the larynx, vocal fold hemorrhage, and others. And one cause leading to structural voice problems are vocal behaviors that bring the vocal folds together with excessive force. Examples of such vocal behaviors are screaming, yelling, coughing, constant throat clearing, speaking in loud environments for a prolonged period of time, smoking, or even untreated acid reflux, to name just a few. Every time our vocal folds come together, they collide. And our vocal folds come together hundreds of times per second. So there are a lot of collisions going on when we use our voice. If we use excessive force, then our vocal folds may undergo structural changes as a result of this. So, in order to avoid further damage to the vocal folds, the first step is to avoid these vocal behaviors. The second step is to learn how to use your voice in a more efficient way without putting stress on the vocal folds. And the good news is that many of these voice problems are very well treatable and they respond well to voice therapy. Take, for example, vocal nodules. Most people with vocal nodules are able to get rid of their voice problems with voice therapy. So those were structural voice problems. Now let's talk about functional voice problems. These are voice issues that may sound exactly the same as structural vocal problems, but in reality there are no structural changes present on the vocal folds. The function of the voice is somewhat altered. Usually when you have a functional voice disorder, your ENT doctor who has done the endoscopic exam may say, "Your vocal folds look great." Functional vocal problems can sound and feel the same way as structural problems. Even though there are no structural changes, you may experience, for example, globus sensation or a feeling of something stuck in your throat. Or you may feel a tight throat, tension when speaking. You may get easily tired after speaking for a short time, or you may have a hard time raising your voice. You may even feel pain or discomfort after talking for an hour. A very typical and quite common example of functional voice problem is muscle tension dysphonia. I've been working with people with functional voice problems for a long time, and I know that many of them are very worried about damaging their voice when they use their voice, because the discomfort and pain they experience is very real. They are afraid that they are damaging the vocal fold tissue or their larynx. Some of them even undergo several endoscopic voice exams to make sure that there is no damage inside their voice. And every time the doctor says that the vocal folds look great, but to them it feels like burning, tearing or straining. The problem is that our sensations from the larynx and how we interpret these sensations are very unreliable. You may feel a lump in the throat, but there is no lump. It is muscle tension that your brain interprets as a lump. You may feel a burning sensation in the laryngeal muscles, but it may be tension or movement that your brain interprets in this way. You may feel pain inside your throat, but there is no damage. It's muscle tension that feels like pain. So the first step in dealing with functional voice problems is to start voice therapy with two main goals: reducing muscle tension and developing more efficient ways of using your voice that do not trigger tension. But it's important to know that once you start working on your voice, the discomfort or pain will not go away immediately. It doesn't mean that you are damaging your voice. As I said before, these sensations are your body's interpretation of tension. If you are experiencing this, just know that it's okay. You are okay. Your body is signaling discomfort and pain, but you are safe. You are in no imminent danger. Of course, I am not telling you to go and yell or keep talking for 10 hours. No, I am just telling you that you don't need to worry about damaging your voice. This additional worry about your voice can actually worsen your voice problems and the symptoms you are experiencing. If you get more worried about your voice that is already tense, you are creating additional tension, and a vicious cycle starts. If you are experiencing vocal strain, tension, or even pain when speaking, and you are ready to work with me towards a free, strong, and confident voice, you can apply to our Vocal Freedom System coaching program. Check out the links in the description below this video. Finally, let's briefly talk about neurological voice disorders. These are voice problems due to nerve damage or misfiring of nerves. Examples of such problems are spasmodic dysphonia, voice problems accompanying Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis, paresis or paralysis of the vocal folds, or vocal tremor. If your voice problem falls into this category, chances are that there is no damage on the vocal fold tissue. So you don't need to be worried about damaging your voice when speaking. Voice therapy may be a good idea to improve vocal function somewhat, but the voice therapy is just a small part of the recovery plan. If you are dealing with functional voice issues that include vocal tension and strain, I made a video in which I walk you through 7 steps that lead to a strong voice without tension. If you want to know what voice, body, and mind considerations you need to take to truly free your voice, click the link in the description below this video. If you found this video helpful, click the like button and share it with your friends. Check out my other videos right here below. I hope to see you there soon. Bye!